Hey everybody, it's Jenine at Sweet Serenity. I wanted to address some things in regards to abdominal work and core work that we do, and acknowledge that there has been some emails and some questions in regards to how to avoid any further neck injury if you've already got a neck injury or you don't want to get one, or any low back problems that you may have. Now, I wanted to point out that your lower back naturally has a curve in it, and it is completely natural. It's supposed to be there. Think of it like the arch of your foot, for instance. This allows for absorption of the spine to prevent any sort of injury while you're moving around in your daily activities. Now, you can bring your back down flat a little bit when you're laying on your mat. And in order to do so, having your knees bent is definitely going to help, because if you have your legs out, as you can see, you get more of a curvature to your spine. So bending your knees in is going to be step one. Step two is imagine pulling your belly button into your spine so that it's going down in through your back and into the ground, and adding a slight tilt to your pelvis. This is going to elongate your spine down your mat so that you can have more coverage of spine down your mat for when you are doing any sort of crunch. Now from here, I want to make sure to acknowledge that you really need to be very cautious of your neck. A lot of people tend to do their sit-up by just pulling their head up, and that's not going to do you any good. So ideally what you want to imagine, or even taking your fist and placing that under your chin so that you have a nice elongated chin and long neck. Because once you start curling your neck in, your neck's doing the sit-ups and not your core. So make sure that you've got a decent space there, and always keep your shoulders open. Do not bring your elbows forward unless it's specific to the type of ab workout that you're doing. I always recommend having them open wide and placing your hands, just splayed out fingers, onto the base of your skull. You can even have a couple of fingers onto your neck, but just so that you can keep a nice open chest, so that when you do pull that belly button in, add that slight tilt of your pelvis and lift. So you're lifting, so you're actually pulling your nose up and forward rather than digging it down towards your chest and crunching your neck. Yes, they're called crunches, but that's supposed to be your abs crunching, not your neck. So from here, nice long neck, and you're going to pull your belly button in, tilting that pelvis, reaching your nose up. So you're lifting your shoulder blades up off the mat and slowly lowering down. Now, I have a neck injury, so I personally cannot do crunches without activating that shoulder neck situation. So I just wanted to demonstrate a couple so that you could see. Now, every single ab workout that you do, whenever you are doing any sort of crunches or pullbacks or Pilates taps or any of those things, is all going to start with your pelvic floor. Now, your pelvic floor is a chalice of gorgeous muscles that help support your bladder and other organs, as well as going to be the support system for your low back. So she is a very important cluster of muscles. So I want you to take a diamond with your thumbs and your pointer fingers. You're going to put your thumbs in your belly button and your pointer fingers down towards your pubic bone, So from there, you're going to do a little tuck of your pelvis, just slightest little tuck. Now, within that diamond is what should be activating. Now, if you're feeling like, well, I don't really feel anything, what you can do is grab a ball or a block, place it between your thighs, pulling your belly button in, tilting that pubic bone to the sky ever so slightly, and squeezing the ball. Now, squeezing that ball or pillow or block is going to activate the pelvic floor muscles without you even trying. So this is something that you can even do while you're watching TV, is just slow little pelvic tilts. So pulling your belly button in, pulling your pelvis up, and squeezing a ball or pillow or whatever you've got there, and just releasing and relax. And squeeze and relax. Now, it won't feel like much at first, but like with any muscle, repetition, you will start to see results, as well as feel the burn, if you will. So I always start every single one of my personal abdominal series this way, and I go over this in many of my classes as well. So it's just the slightest pelvic tilt. And now when I say pelvic tilt, that does not mean squeeze your glutes to tilt your pelvis. No. That's pulling your belly button in and imagining pulling your pubic bone to the sky. You're not tucking, because tucking would be a full tuck and that would lift your bum off the ground. It's just the slightest little pelvic rock. That's all you need to do. And squeezing that ball, it's going to engage. Now you might not feel it right away, you might feel it later or tomorrow. So that's what I recommend whenever you start any abdominal exercises. Whatever you're doing, that's where it should start. From the core of your belly button down to your pubic bone, those ladies should be engaged. There are so many different abdominal exercises that you can do from this position. I'll show you a handful of mine that involve not lifting your neck at all off of the mat, but I will also show you both ways. So, one of my favorites is Pilates Toe Taps. I like a lot of the Pilates ab, as Pilates is mainly a core exercise. So, I want you to elongate your spine down your mat, bringing your shoulder blades underneath of you. Elongate your arms down your mat and use your fingertips like suction cups. You're going to bend one knee up at a time and you're going to make sure that your shins are parallel to the earth. Now, all that's going to happen is a hinge of the hip. So you're going to hinge down and you're going to go tap, tap, and then lift. Tap, tap, lift. Now remember the pelvic floor that we just talked about, we're going to engage her and it tilts that pelvis to get those knees up. So tap, tap, lift. If you want to add the breath, it's a and you can do as many as those as you like. Another great variation is bringing the knee in for a tap, 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 tap. Now don't let this foot land on the floor. They're both doing sort of a little tap, 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 tap. Now you can lift your neck here if you like. So making sure that you've got that fist distance width from your chin to your chest, lifting those shoulders up. You can also do this alternatively with straight legs. Again, you can keep your head down on your mat, or you can lift. Up to you. Elongate your spine down your mat between every ab exercise that you do to make sure that you've got a nice long spine. Now from here you can do all kinds of different things. So making sure your shoulder blades are underneath, fingertips are digging into your mat. You can do straight leg up and down. Or you can add a bend, so you come straight down, bend the knees in, straighten the legs up. Or you can also do the reverse. Different choices. Or some other really great abs are done from a more seated up position. I always recommend pulling the flesh out from underneath. And again, that same premise that we had when we were laying down on the floor is that slight tilt and pulling that belly button in. Now from here you can bring your arms out and slowly lower down. Now what I want you to imagine is that one vertebrae at a time is coming down towards the mat and then coming back up. It's mostly going to be your tail. And just pulling that belly in and back. You can add twisting to this. All while keeping the shoulders nice and open and the spine long. So sometimes you might see somebody come way back here, and that is great if you have that kind of range of motion and you're not adding too much strain on your neck. But sometimes it's honestly just the smallest motion is all you need, and repetition. Now, if you feel like your hip flexors are getting way too involved here, and that can happen a lot, as our hip flexors seem to want to take over, and I don't understand why they do that. But open your legs and allow those knees to sort of splay out and relax and do the same activity. And now your hip flexors aren't going to overactivate. You can also do ab workouts where you add in your arms. So if you want a bit of a tricep workout, but you're not going to hurt your neck, is in and outs. So having your palms down into your mat, toes, nose, and fingertips all pointing in the same direction. You're going to bend down into your elbows while you straighten those legs and come in. And alternatively, you can turn those legs out, working a different set of muscles. Some other really great ab exercises that I like to do involve being on your knees. If you have a ball or a block, placing that underneath your bottom. Now from here, all you need to do is imagine that you're working on those obliques as you're going to be pulling your elbow from the sky down into your hip. So what's happening is you're going to reach and stretch and pull that hip and elbow together. Reach and stretch. And at first, again, just like when we work our pelvic floor, we're like, oh, that's not so bad, until you do a bunch. Okay, and you can pulse it. Really imagine pulling those obliques together. Also, we can do cat-cows from this position. We normally do them in a tabletop position, but adding in the arms and really focusing on pulling that pelvis forward. So this will be a full tilt forward and a full tilt back. So what it looks like when you see it from the side is adding in the arms. We're going to open wide, arching that back, and rolling forward, arching. And I'm really pulling that pelvis forward and crunching into those abdominals. So those are some of my favorite ab exercises where you're going to avoid hurting your neck, which is the whole point, is we want to get a stronger core, not a neck brace. I hope this was helpful for you guys today. I had a lot of fun. We'll see you soon.